What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is the JR Wisdom channel. Shout out to everybody tuning in. I want to cover this topic really quick, maybe, hopefully. This is a topic that I was actually going to hang out with the other night. Shout out to O'Shea and everybody else that was on that panel. I briefly spoke on it, but didn't really go into depth or detail about it. But it is something that is communicated within the black community, which is really like, I think is not really a serious thing to be debated or talked about, because there are much bigger issues going on than to decide are mixed children really considered black. At the end of the day, it's about who identifies with what. A lot of our leaders and historically are in the black community or heroes, quote unquote, revolutionaries and things like that. They've all been quote unquote mixed race or biracial, or you know has have a significant amount of what's deemed Caucasian blood in them. We can name off a lot of the major ones that we think about in history: Malcolm X, think about Louis Farrakhan, Dubois, Du Bois, whatever you want to call him, Frederick Douglass. There's several others I'm missing right now, but definitely these are all historically major revolutionaries who shaped Black history, American Black history, and it's just something that you really have to think about. And when you think about those, you don't second guess whether those people are considered black or not. Barack Obama, another one who many of you Democrats, non-Democrats, mostly Democrats, believe was contributed greatly to the black community in the United States, which he really didn't. But this isn't a political video. I'm basically getting to the point to speak my piece on it and the way I see it, based upon me being a quote unquote biracial man in black America, which me personally, obviously, for those of you who follow my channel and those of you who haven't, know that I am half black, half white. My mother's black, my father's white. I was raised in a black family. I was raised by my mother, who was a black woman. I never felt white, but to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to be when I was early years. I've never said this, I've told this to a few people, but first, second, third grade, because sometimes you do have an identity crisis or identity of who it is that you are or how you look as opposed to your parents, and that's kind of how that's the way I was feeling at the time. And I wanted to be that, but that wasn't the case. So me, I've growing up, even into adulthood, I never felt like I was like I was white. I could never identify as that. My father was white. I never was able to use that privilege, so to speak, for people who say that there is a privilege or things like that. I was never able to do that. I was never able to leverage that. My pops had family and stuff like that that were. My pop's brother, as a matter of fact, was an ambassador to Greece, Thailand, Guatemala. He helped overthrow Arbenz in Guatemala way back when, and you guys can look that up. John Purifoy, just putting it out there. But I was never able to benefit from any of that. I grew up poor on a dirt road in the South, which the crazy part about it, growing up in the South, me in the area that I grew up in, me being who I was, it was like an anomaly. It was an anomaly where you didn't really see too many people like me and things like that. So growing up, it always felt like I knew who my parents were, I knew who my father was, but it was like I had to be a certain way, and there was nobody I could relate to. There was no one that I could really model myself after or anything like that. It was like at all. So it's like I was basically like like roaming, figuring things out for myself, figuring out, all of these things and my own interests, what I like to do, things like that. And as segregated as my little town that I grew up in was, I had to get familiar with it, and I developed my own likes and interests on their own. So regardless, the thing is, I know where I grew up at. I can't speak as far as a lot of these kids who grew up in these more diverse cities, the more liberal cities, especially on the West Coast, New York City, places like that where it's like a melting pot. It's just, I didn't grow, I always wished I grew up in places like that. As much as they say Los Angeles is a segregated city, I wish that I grew up in LA. A bigger city where I could identify with more people that were like me. But that wasn't the case. So I was affected by, getting asked question after question, being picked on, getting beat up, being pinched to see if I would turn red. Just different things like that, which I never understood as a kid. Being called slurs, this isn't about, like I said in O'Shea's video, this isn't about me playing a violin or anything like that or looking for sympathy. It's just something I had to go through, and it's just a part of ignorance and the way kids are taught about people who are different and things like that. So that was my experience. That was what I had to go through. That was what I had to deal with. So as far as being our mixed kids black, de facto by default, I was black. I was raised by a black mother. I was raised in a black neighborhood. So by all means, I felt I grew up black, but I didn't fully feel like I was always made to feel like I was different. It wasn't like I was just say, well, I'm a black man. At the end of the day, in America, I am a black man. I don't think that I'm going to be fully, as far as the black community, you're not going to be looked at as fully black, and as a white community, you'll never be accepted as fully white. So where does that leave you? You're more accepted in the black community than in the white community, and that's always been my life. So it's this country obviously is built on racism. This country is weird, especially in the South, and people fear or want to question what they don't know, and it's insecurities, especially kids will tell you the truth. And we're taught that certain characteristics, certain looks are admired and wanted by certain people, and the media makes certain people feel inferior because of the way they look. And that's what I don't like about, and it's all over the world. It's not just America. It's in every country. Black gene is more dominant. Period. I'm out. No shit. Thanks for the lesson though. It's like I forgot my train of thought. Doesn't matter where you go at. It's just weird, man. So any younger generation, any younger kids who are biracial or mixed, being teased or picked at, or being told that you're not black enough because you have a white parent, or vice versa, if you're being outcast by your white side of the family. This is just the way it is. This is just where you're at. I think it builds character. It also builds up insecurities in people, though. It builds character, but it builds insecurities, and it kind of forces you to do more than you would normally do. And that's why you see a lot of revolutionaries who do go beyond their capacity. They do feel like they need to go above and beyond and represent their blackness, or to basically explain it, or to show that they are black. That's why you have many light-skinned people dating people of darker skin tone, and vice versa. But a lot of times you see lighter skinned men, biracial men, or biracial women, they will date someone of darker complexion. Even Malcolm X's mother said that. That's why she got with Malcolm X's father. It's because of that same reason. Even though the situation how she came about was, under not conventional means and was very wrong how she was conceived, but that's the reason why. The reason why she was conceived was the exact reason why she wanted to get a dark skinned man to have children with. So it's just the way it is. I agree with there's only two types of people. There's real people and there's fake people. Whether you're racist or whatever, you're fake. You either love people or you hate them. I mean, you put out hate, you'll get back hate. You put out love, you'll get love. So with that being said, man, that's my thoughts on it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on it. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. I'll catch you guys on the next one.